daylight savings time. Hate it, hate it, hate it. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. I feel sorry for Mommy. Because you didn't get a nap. He didn't get a nap. I feel sorry for Mommy. Oh. Kids do not appreciate naps. I don't know why. I said bye-bye. You can't run out on the road like that. See what I mean? See what I mean? I can never tell if I've had a good day or not, sometimes. As far as like being productive, right? Today I washed dishes, washed a dishes, wrote a blog post, like, what else I did? I watched the baby for a while Ashley was out. But on the other hand, I kind of sat in my chair for a lot of that time too. I never know whether to be happy with how much I've done. Speaking of blog posts, apparently now I'm blogging about the process of making this movie that I'm absolutely not going to make. It's not going to happen. Well, I'm writing a script and I'm blogging about it. Today I talked about self-doubt. I'm going to go to humanechoes.com and see that post. Into the corn. That's a thing. I saw today for the podcast. This is way early. Like usually I don't watch the podcast movie until close to before we're about to do it. And we're not recording the podcast until Saturday. But I was like, I'm gonna get on this. I'm gonna do this ahead of time. So I watched Detention, which Twitter guy @DannyBrophy had recommended to me, and Netflix has it at like 5 stars for me. Like, we think you'll really love this film. I was like, Netflix, this film, it better be good. You're overhyping this. They weren't overhyping that. That film is legit. It's like Quentin Tarantino on meth. But in a good way. I mean, meth is not good. I'm just saying it's like hyper. It's like it goes everywhere and does everything. And there's a dude with fly blood and aliens and time travel, and the time machine is inside of a stuffed bear who got kidnapped by aliens. I don't even know. Like, if you are a Netflix type user, or if you have the money to buy the DVD, talking about Detention as a movie, I don't even, it's beyond, it's, what do you even say about that movie? It's crazy. It makes me exhausted just to look at it. To look at it and think about all the editing work that had to go into it. Like, I watch like a Quentin Tarantino film, and all those long takes, like, as impressive as they are, they're like, yeah, nobody had to cut any film here. This is the best. In Detention, it's just terrifying. It's terrifying to look at that and think somebody had to make all those cuts and put all that text in there and smash all those little pieces together. I don't know how you do that. I don't know how you make a movie like that. It's amazing though. And it's a great story. And it's bonkers. And you should check it out. We'll talk about it on the podcast and stuff later. But yeah, that was my five-minute soundbite about that. Detention. It's the bomb. We're back. Easy day at work today. One truck. Gravy job on the truck. No complaints. I heard an interesting news story the other day. It was actually right after I had done recording the vlog that came out the day previous to this one. Oh no, my headlights are on. Anyway, and I kind of kicked myself because I didn't get to get to talk about it. But it was interesting. They were talking about the incidence of mass shootings in America, and they were discussing how you divide the statistics up for mass shootings. Because on the one hand, if you take the statistics and you say, okay, any shooting in which 4 or more people are killed, then you get basically a flat line where there's not a lot of variance. And so people say, oh, see, you know, they're trying to make it sound like there's all these new, you know, shootings and stuff when you talk about school shootings and stuff, so that's not increasing. But the interesting thing was, they said if you break it down and talk about crimes that are not gang related and not, I forget what the word for like family on family crime is, domestic, that's the word. If you take away the gang related crime and the domestic crime, then you see like this really weird spike in 2011 when all of a sudden the sort of crimes that you think of in your head as public sort of mass shootings, the ones that get the play in the media, those incidents practically double at that time. Which I thought was really fascinating, because it really sort of raises a question about how we approach legislation is the word I'm looking for, and sort of the fears we have. Because there is certainly an element of, however you feel about it, it seems like the driving force behind a lot of legislation are these very public, kind of in-your-face types of crimes. And the interesting thing is, even with them, you know, doubling in incidents, they're still so incredibly low that it doesn't affect the statistic of actual mass shootings in the US. But there are enough gang shootings and domestic violence shootings in the US that doubling the number of the public shootings that everybody sees does nothing to that statistic. So what do you do with this? There's this weird human bias to think of the things that we see, the things that are more visible, and be more afraid of them, right? Like, we're not scared of the flu killing us because the flu's been around. We are familiar with the threat of the flu, despite the fact that it's a real possibility that you could die of the flu. We don't freak out and have mass panic about the flu like we do about Ebola. And I'm not quite as flippant about Ebola as some people are, but I understand that it's very, very small incidents of transmission in America. But it's a new thing. Like, our brains are wired to look at a new thing and be like, whoa, 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 whoa. Or the unusual, the out of place. And you really get into, like, asking yourself, is there a defect in how we work and how we think about things? And the kind of, like, the knee-jerk reaction is yes. It's like, yes, there's something wrong with us. Like, the way, like, humans are not logical. They just aren't. That's not how people work. And I wonder if we need to be. I feel like that there's sort of a case to be made for the idea that we need to be aware of our mind's limitations and our sort of the way we react to things. The fact that we do react to sort of strange occurrences more drastically, even if they are less threatening to us as something that we see every day. But I'm also not a fan of this idea of just like discounting the foibles of the human brain, saying, oh, that shouldn't be like that. Because we're not supposed to be logical. We aren't machines. I think when something new is around, it should freak us out a little bit. We should say, I don't know what's going on with that thing, so I'm a little bit worried. I don't know. This is very indecisive, I realize. But it's something I think about a lot. The notion that at least a certain amount of illogical thinking is part of who we are, and we shouldn't want to change that. That we should be okay with the idea that we are emotional creatures, that we have these instabilities in the way we think, these irregularities that do not match up with mathematical reality. But that's what makes us human. And on the one hand, we need to be able to realize that there are the limitations, there are the things that are, that can trick us into thinking that things are a problem when they aren't, or aren't a problem when they are. But I don't know that we need to completely shun that part of us either. We don't need to become what is it Spock is? A Vulcan! Yeah. We don't need to become Vulcans. Logic is not the end and the end all and the be all of existence. Part of being is feeling. And that's important too. Even if it is wrong sometimes. That's what I think.